and you are listening to, you are absolutely listening to the George Espinlove Show, coming to you live from the Funny Farm. Now, with no further ado, here comes Georgie!
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, my. Thank you. What are you going to be like tomorrow night when it's Friday? You know, we just kind of go ballistic around here on Friday. We never know what's going to happen. But nonetheless, to all of our friends down the street, around the corner, across this great nation and around the world, I welcome you to the George Espinlove Show that comes to you Monday through Friday, every night at this time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, right here on the Spreaker Network, live from the Funny Farm in a place called Our World. And we have no idea where that is. We don't even care where that is. We just live here. We don't have a specific mailing address, but we do have an email. Our email address is GeorgeCE. That's GeorgeCE at Comcast.net. GeorgeCE at Comcast.net. And we want to hear from you. And thank you to those that have been writing to us. We appreciate it so very, very much. And we get all excited. And we get warm and fuzzy on the inside every time we get emails from our listeners around the world. It is very, very exhilarating. How about that word? Exhilarating. Boy, have we got one for you tonight. Maybe some of you know, maybe some of you don't. Let me get this hooked up here again. Charlie, I have problems without you, buddy. Okay. All right. Mr. Steve Rizzo is with us tonight, and I'll let him tell you about his background and so on and so forth. And we are just delighted, and we thank him for taking the time out to be with us. Steve, welcome to the George Espinlove Show.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it, George.
Oh, we are just so excited. Could you tell us a little bit about your background and so on and so forth?
Yes, I can. Well, it's a pretty intense background, I'll tell you that. Let's start at a point where I was raised in a family environment where there was, my mom and dad were great people, but they instilled a lot of fear without them even realizing it. Always looked at the glass as half empty. Sometimes they didn't even see the glass. And I was born in that type of an atmosphere. And when I was in 8th grade, I was in the guidance counselor's office with my mom and dad, and they were going over my curriculum to go over what I was going to do when I got out of high school. And at that time, all I wanted to do was go to college. And the guidance counselor told me in front of my mom and dad that I wasn't smart enough and I didn't have what it takes to go to college. Yeah. And then in 12th grade, I was labeled with being voted least likely to succeed in my senior class in high school. And I realized as I got older, I took those negative labels into my adult life. And I realized that it was those negative labels that molded the direction for most of my life. And eventually I started seeing, some strengths in myself. And I did go to college, and I graduated with straight A's, but that fear of being inadequate and not being good enough was always with me. And I graduated with degrees in administration and English and education and theater arts, and I went back to the same school that I graduated from and taught English, and I was a counselor for kids with behavioral problems. And in the middle of that 2 years of being an English teacher in 8th grade, I decided to leave, and I went into the stand-up comedy field, which was one of the biggest highlights of my life. And I did that for 18 years, headlined every comedy club in the country, did a lot of TV shows, HBO, Showtime, and all those things, had my own specials, and at the very pinnacle of my career, I decided to leave stand-up, and I became a motivational speaker, and that's what I'm doing now.
When you were at the pinnacle, what was it that caused you just all of a sudden? You told your roommate Drew Carey that you were done. You're going back home. What was it that brought that about?
Well, that's a great question, and that's really where it all starts. Because my opening acts in my comedy career at the beginning were Drew Carey, and Drew Carey was my opening act. Rosie O'Donnell, Dennis Miller, and Ron White, and a lot of other guys. And I realized as the years were going by that these guys were bypassing me and getting their own TV shows and their own sitcoms. And I couldn't understand why opportunity wasn't knocking on my door. And taking a good hard look at my life, I realized that opportunity was knocking all along. I was just afraid to open the door. I had an intense fear of failure and of success. Talk about not being able to make up your mind. And I just said, I've had enough of this. I was getting very angry. I was partying and drinking and doing a lot of drugs and doing all that stuff way too much. And I went on a self-help quest to better myself. And believe me, George, when I say this, I read dozens and dozens and dozens of self-help books and listened to CDs and DVDs and went to seminars, Tony Robbins seminars. I did anything I could to better myself. And as the years were going by, I was still doing stand-up, of course. I noticed that I started changing inwardly, and my perspective of life on the outside world was different. Also, I had more of an optimistic attitude, and even people coming up to me and saying, "Geez, man, there's something about you that's different, and you're calm, you're this and you're that." And ironically, at that time when I was going through these changes, the entertainment industry, the comedy industry, was incredibly into me, and I was no longer into them. And to make a very long story short, I realized that I had what it takes to help people on another level. And I started thinking in the middle of a Tony Robbins seminar, and as a matter of fact, this is really weird. You know this because you read the book, but there was a point at a Tony Robbins seminar when I was admiring his total command of the audience. And, this guy was speaking for like 4 days. It was a 4-day weekend, and he always had this command. And I noticed he had a unique brand of humor. And I said, this guy is incredible. And I put down my pen, and something made me pick it up, and I didn't even realize I did it. And I wrote, "You should be doing this. You can do this. You will do this." And then I wrote under that, "Whatever it takes." And that's when I realized that I am going to be a speaker, and all the tools that I use to turn my life around are the tools that I use when I speak to corporate America and give my public seminars.
When you said you had a fear of failure and a fear of success, man, that's a real menagerie there. I've heard of people that's afraid of failure, and I've heard of people afraid of success, but I never heard anyone say they were afraid of both.
Well, that's weird too, and I thought that too. But there are more people have more of a fear of both than one.
Uh-huh.
People think it's a fear of success, and it's really not. It's a fear of succeeding and failing. It's a fear of getting to the top and not actually believing that you're good enough. And it's really weird because all my peers, all of my friends, the Drew Careys and all those guys, they all looked at me as the one that was going to make it next, and all the comedy club owners kept saying it, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't believe it.
Right.
And it could go the other way around, too. You could have absolutely, and you can prove this just by looking at TV, you could have absolutely no talent at all, but if you have a belief that you're going to make it, you have a really, really good chance of making it. It's your belief system that determines. And those beliefs are formulated by the thoughts that you keep programming in your brain day in and day out. And my thought system was incredibly negative. I had a lot of negative self-talk, or as I call it in the book, self-curse talk. You're casting a spell on your life. And that's what I did, and I created this belief system that was writing the story of my life, and it wasn't going to be a good ending unless I took hold of the reins and started steering it in a different direction.
So those things that the guidance counselor said, and what your classmates said, most likely to fail, and some other things in your life, they never left you. I mean, they were in there.
Well, yeah, they were, but I didn't know they were, and that's the sad part about people that might be listening now.
Mm-hmm.
What you need to do, if you realize your life isn't working and you realize you're not getting what it is that you want in life, and what's holding you back and what's keeping you from moving forward, sometimes you just have to sit down and reflect, and you have to go over this videotape in your mind, and you actually have to delve into things that people said to you, the way you were raised, the things your parents said to you, the things teachers said to you, religious groups, your peers, the things, those things that matter so much, because at the time, it didn't mean anything to me.
Mm-hmm.
It was disappointing in 8th grade when my guidance counselor told me that. I walked out and said, okay, he's got to know what he's talking about, but I didn't know the impact. I wasn't mature enough, mentally or emotionally, to realize the impact. And then when the 12th grade thing hit, I just said, okay, and I made a joke out of it, and I started hanging out with the wrong group. I hung out with any group that would accept me for who I am, and most of them had the same negative labels. So it wasn't until I started getting older and started reading these books that things started clicking, and I'm going, wow, no wonder I feel this way. Look what was said to me. Look what was done. I mean, even to this day, where money is abundant in my life, I still have some kind of a fear that it's going to be taken away, or that something's going to happen where I'm not going to have it anymore. And that fear comes from my mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
The gists of all of the arguments in this family with my mom, mother, and father was always, 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 always about money. Always. Constant arguing about money. Those sayings like, money doesn't grow on trees, we're never going to have enough, I'm going to have to get another mortgage out on the house, and you'd hear these arguments.
Uh-huh.
And they stay with you.
That goes to show that my grandma used to say little pitchers have big ears. When us little ones were around, the adults, they'd shoo us away because we had big ears. We'd being nosy, they'd shoo us away. But
Yep.
That goes to show us how much of a responsibility we have to say the right things at the right time to the little people, right?
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. When I speak to education groups, I tell them you have to be really, really careful on what you're saying to your students. You have to be really careful on the words that you choose, because that one negative response that you say to a student in a classroom where all the other students laugh at that one student, and even though you didn't think you did harm or meant harm, that could be the final nail that sealed the coffin.
Mm-hmm.
That could be the one. That could be the one thing that could totally turn that 14, 13, 12-year-old to move forward with his life with tons of negativity on his shoulder. It's so important. Words are incredibly powerful. Your thoughts are incredibly powerful. So even though it was other people's thoughts about me, I took those thoughts and they became my thoughts, and those very thoughts formulate your belief system. The beliefs that you have about anything in your life, and people don't realize this, we go through the course of our lives, and we all carry these beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't even ask ourselves where they came from. Why are you Catholic? Why are you Jewish? Why do you believe in that? Well, because my mom and dad did. Yeah, but why? There's got to be another answer. And why do you believe this? Why do you believe that? The beliefs that you have about religion, race, sex, politics, education, your neighborhood, the people you live with, the people you work with, the beliefs you have about anything in your life are formulated over a period of time through a consistent way of thinking. Your thoughts create your beliefs. There's no getting away with that. So if you're going through most of your life with negative reinforcement, with other people telling you you're not good enough, and you're admitting to yourself that you're not good enough. And every time you try to accomplish something, and that voice, as I say in the book, the big mouth inside your head is saying, hey, you're not smart enough, you're not good enough. There you go again. There you go again. You keep trying, but you keep failing. You just better play it safe and stay where you are. You're not going to go any further in life. And you solidify your own fate. You don't even give yourself a chance because you don't think that you have one.
Let me give our audience your website, Steve. Excuse me.
Sure.
It's steverizzo.com. Steve Rizzo, that's Rizzo, just the way it sounds. steverizzo.com. And he wrote the book. And I got to be careful when I say this. I have to think. Get your shift together. I think that is a cool title. Get your shift together, and you can get it right on your website, right, Steve?
You can get it as soon as you go on the site. It's on the home page. It's on every page on the website. It's very easy. You click onto the link. It takes you to the page where you can either order it from Amazon or Barnes and Noble. And in 2 days, it was an Amazon bestseller. And it's just getting great reviews. Folks, before you even buy the book, just go on Amazon and read the reviews. It'll make you want to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
People I don't even know just blow me away. And as I said to you earlier, before we were on the air, George, my goal, and that's why I appreciate so much what you do, because my goal is to get this very simple message out to people. I want to let people know that no matter what overall degree their happiness level is at, if they read this book and do the attitude adjustment strategies in this book, they can be happier. I'm not going to say they're going to be the happiest people in the world, but they can be happier than they ever thought they could. Everyone listening has the ability to create different habits, to create a totally different life for themselves if they choose to do it. And for those of you who are listening and saying, well, you don't know me, you don't know this, well, then there's nothing I can do for you if you don't want to take that chance.
I like what you said in the book, and I can't say it verbatim, but some people have everything they need right in front of them at their fingertips, and they just don't get it, and they just don't do it, and they're just never happy.
Yeah.
And then there's other people that, I mean, moon rocks fell on them, and there's nothing but obstacles and hurdles and pain and hurt. But yet they go on, and they've got this happy spirit about them, and they press on, and they do what they set out to do. And, I mean, how's this work, Steve?
Yeah, you're right. And it's all right. Some people have every advantage in their favor, and they have all the talent in the world, but yet they somehow manage to sabotage their lives. That was me. I was like that. And then you have those who have every disadvantage in their way, and they use those obstacles as builders for their spirit and for their for who they are, and they look at it as a challenge, not as being victimized and saying, hey, I can beat this, and they use that as a mechanism to catapult their lives into great success. It's amazing how people do that. There's a lot of people, a lot of great success stories of people who had every odd against them, insurmountable odds, and they just use them as tools to get to where they wanted to go. And some people use those same obstacles as weights to sink them down and to drown themselves. Again, it's how you view the challenge, and your thoughts are the main tool, that mechanism that deciphers how you view that challenge. When some people are confronted with a challenge in life, even a small one, first thing they say is, "Oh, here we go again. I knew this was going to happen."
Oh yeah.
So as soon as you do that, you enter into the negative zone. You make a bad situation worse than what it has to be. And then there are those who are confronted with a bigger challenge in that and say, "Okay, all right, I didn't expect this, but I knew challenges are going to occur. All right, this is not that good, but you know what? What can I do to turn this around? Who can I go to that can help me? What needs to be done for me to overcome this challenge and to get to where I want to go? Because I know this is where I want to go, and I know I have what it takes to get there, and I also know there is something within me that can meet this challenge head on, be blessed by it, and overcome it, and to get to where I want to go." And it's a totally different mindset. But we all have the power to do the latter, what I just explained to you. But most of us don't, because we're caught up, because we don't think we're good enough.
It would be very interesting, and I might try this. In fact, I will try it. Just to spend one day and make myself very, very conscious. Ask my wife, she'll tell me I'm unconscious. She's been telling me that for 45 years. But anyhow, make it a point to listen very carefully throughout the course of a day and pay attention to how many people I come in contact with that has all the dark negative side to them.
Yep.
And then see how many I run into that, what do you call it? They enjoy the process, or they enjoy the journey.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you know it's amazing. If you could do that, that's pretty cool. Also, I'll add to that, if you could be very conscious to what you're saying to yourself throughout the course of the day, you'd be very surprised.
Yes.
And how many, whether you're in your car, you're in a good mood, and all of a sudden you're at a red light, and you say, "Oh man, this is ridiculous. Look at this." And as soon as you start that, again, you're opening up the door to the negative zone. And negative remarks, negative attitudes snowball and can fester into. They can take what could have been a really good productive day into a real hectic day, just by that one thought, because they snowball and they can formulate the mood you're going to be in for the whole day.
You know, and then I want you, if you would, tell us about your brother. But in Vietnam, we had just a simple little saying. It don't matter what was going on. It don't matter how bad it was, or if it was any good. Whatever the situation was, we used to say, "It ain't nothing."
Yep.
We'd say, "It ain't nothing." Now that might sound a little morbid to people, but that was our mindset. Whatever, it ain't nothing. And I don't know how many times I've said that over the years. It ain't nothing. When I run into a roadblock or a hurdle or a bump in the road or fall into the canyon, it ain't nothing. Would you tell us the story about your brother?
I'd love to, because I dedicated the book to him, because he is the biggest inspiration in my life. And as I was saying earlier, the tools that I used on my self-help course to better myself were the tools that I use to help corporate America and when I do my public seminars. But they are also, as I realized and I look back at my brother and how he overcame this incredible adversity, those were the tools that he used also. And I just incorporated all these tools, and that's what's in the book. He's 100% disabled as a result of the Vietnam War. Excuse me. The only man in medical history that ever survived that kind of wound, as far as they know. 21 feet of his small intestine were either taken out or blown out on the battlefield. His kidneys were damaged, and other internal organs had pretty intense damage too. Now, the only reason why I'm being graphic here, because I want everyone to understand it's important to know what he went through so you can really appreciate how he beat these odds and the way that he did it. I'll never forget the first time that I saw him in St. Albans Naval Hospital in Queens, New York. If it hadn't have been for my mom and dad in the room with him, I never would have known it was him. He went from 168 pounds to 88 pounds. In the room with my mom and dad were his two friends from high school and his Marine Corps buddy whom he had gotten wounded with. And the whole day, my brother was going in and out of consciousness, and that was when the doctors came in towards the end of the day and looked at my mom and dad and said, "I'm sorry, but it doesn't look like he's going to make it, not even through the night." George, I'll never forget the look on my mom and dad's face. His two friends from high school walked out of the room, and his Marine Corps buddy was hitting the wall saying, "Why?" And as all this was going on, I remember staring at my brother. I was only 17 years old at the time, and I remember thinking, is this going to be the last time that I'm ever going to see him? My family's very close, and, very close Italian, typical Italian family. And as I'm looking at my brother and these thoughts are going through my head, I'm noticing something very strange is happening. He's supposed to be unconscious, but yet I notice his hand is slowly starting to rise from his side. and he clenched his fist ever so slowly, and all of a sudden I noticed up came his middle finger. And it was right then and there that I knew he was going to try and make it, because he still had his sense of humor. And that was the answer that he gave to those doctors' diagnosis. And that was the answer he gave them, George, every single time they told him he couldn't and wouldn't be able to do something. First they said he probably wouldn't live long. Well, they were wrong, because he's alive today. Then they said that he would have to eat certain foods like oatmeal, liquids, fruit, juices and stuff. My brother's attitude was, hey, don't you ever tell me what I'm going to eat. I'm going to eat a bowl of pasta and a couple of meatballs, even if I have to shit on a toilet while I'm eating it. And, you know, when I tell the story, people laugh, but the truth is, he lived long enough where his small intestine was stretched a bit, and he was able to compensate and use the rest of his digestive system for what his small intestine could no longer do. Till this day, doctors say it's a miracle. When he goes for his checkups, they, you know, call him nicknames like Miracle Man and, well, here comes the Miracle Wonder. And I believe in miracles. That's the whole point of this story. I believe everyone that's listening, and that's the moral of this story, has opportunities to perform their own miracles when life throws something challenging in their way. It doesn't matter how big or how small it is. It's a matter of what you believe. Now, where do your beliefs come from? From the thoughts you keep programming in your brain. My brother created an impeccable belief system. First of all, he never said, why me? He never used those words. He never used that type of thinking, which is the worst thing you can say, because that's what most people do say as soon as you're confronted with a challenge. Why me? Why is this happening? Again, as soon as you say that, you're opening up the door to the negative zone, and you're on your way to walk in. Instead, he said, well, this is me. This is what happened. And he asked himself empowering questions like, what do I need to do to turn this around? What can I do to, who can I go to that can help me? What exercises do I need to do to get better? What kind of mind training do I need to do in order to turn this around? And he never focused on what was missing in his life. He always focused on what he had. That's something everybody does when you're confronted with a challenge. You're always focusing on what was taken, or what you know, what you don't have, or what you're not going to get. One day, a doctor came in to the room when he was eating a sandwich, and at that time he was forbidden to eat solid foods. And my brother and I would always go in and slip him a slice of pizza, you know, a sandwich or a hero sandwich or something. So one day the doctor caught him eating a sandwich. And the doctor comes in and he said, you know, you shouldn't be eating that. I told you all, you know, you have 21 feet of your intestine taken out. And my brother takes the sandwich and throws it at the doctor. And he goes, you want to know what your problem is, Doc? You keep focusing on the 21 feet that I no longer have, and I keep focusing on the 1 foot that I have left. Let's try it my way just for once. The doctor didn't know what to say. He walked out. He came back 3 days later and apologized to my brother and said, let's try it your way. But the thing that helped him to survive more than anything else, and you know, and that's what he did. They did try it his way. And every little step that he took, even going to the bathroom by himself, was another notch on his victory belt. He just gave himself more momentum as he kept going. But I honestly believe what separated him from everyone else, and this is crucial because this is what the main part of the book is about, my brother sensed somehow the importance of enjoying himself and finding the laughter during the rebuilding process. This is what I believe separated him from everyone else that was wounded in that hospital. I'm not passing judgment.
Mm-hmm.
I know these guys had their own pain to deal with, but I honestly believe, in retrospect, when I look back at this, what separated my brother from these people is that these people were saying, how can I be happy now the way I am? How can I enjoy myself the way I am? How can I find the laughter the way I am? Or I'll enjoy myself and I'll be happy and I'll find the laughter if and when I get better. My brother said, I'm going to enjoy myself during every step of this rebuilding process, and I am going to surround myself with laughter and with people who can make me laugh. And as a result, that helped him to get better.
He no doubt was He no doubt was sunshine in a dark room with the other fellows around.
Yep, yep. And he refused to listen to their complaints. He would hear them for a while, but there were some guys that's all they wanted to do is complain about everything. And my brother he couldn't handle that. He would just tell them no. He would throw stuff at them. He threw a tray at one guy once. And he said, "No, man, you can't do that. I'm not going. You're not bringing me down with you because this wasn't easy for him. I don't want to make this sound like he had these superpowers. I mean, there were times when he went down. He was surrounded for almost a year in that hospital by people who were in intense pain, and he saw bodies being brought out every couple of days. But there was something within him that every time he felt he was going down, that he would just build himself up with positive thoughts, with cracking jokes, and we'd all be there, and we helped a lot with that. Because my family has an incredible sense of humor, so do his friends. We would put on little cabaret plays for him just to make him laugh. Anything. Make a long story short, he was in the hospital, as I said, for almost a year. When he got out, he was 95 pounds. He said he was going to go to college, and we didn't think he can do it because he wasn't Mr. Whiz Kid in high school. And he did go to college. He had to go at night because they wouldn't let him go full time because he was, he didn't do well in high school at all. He, was retained a few times. He got suspended a few times. So he got straight A's. They let him go full time. He graduated with degrees in administration, history, education. He went back to the same school he graduated from and became a history teacher. From there, he became an attendance officer. From there, he became assistant principal. Then he became principal. Then when he wanted to retire, they wouldn't let him. They made him a superintendent of the entire school system. And as of 2 years ago, he did retire. Now he's traveling the world, and he's got 3 houses around the country. And he's the most successful, happiest person that I know.
I have to tell you, Steve, when I read that, I cried, I laughed. I did one of those cry and laughing thing at the same time. You know what I mean?
I know. As you're laughing, you're wiping the tears from your face.
Yeah.
I know. It's like watching a scene in a movie. I know. And the thing is, George, it's a true story. And the thing is that, God, anyone that's listening, we all have this capability to do this. We all do. If we can just get away from the confines of this negative crap that is sucking us down every single day. If we could just focus on what we have rather than fixating on what we don't have. If we could wake up in the morning and bless the things that life has given us rather than cursing what life hasn't given us. If we could just do these little things every day and build your momentum up, you'll have a different perspective on your life and the things that are around you.
If we could get rid of that stinking thinking, huh?
That stinking thinking. Yeah, I like that.
Stinking thinking.
Yeah, and that big mouth inside your head.
Yeah. I like the way it is. It's the big mouth inside your head. I guess that goes along with we are our worst enemies, right?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We are definitely our worst enemies. We could be our best friends too. And we all have that opportunity. Why not? Why wouldn't you want to be your best friend? And some people right now say, because I don't like myself. Well, that's the point. You have to turn that around. You definitely have to turn that around. You have to get your shift together.
Yeah.
And that's what the book is about. It just shows people how to shift their focus and their way of thinking to turn challenging times into opportunities, to focus on what's working rather than fixating what isn't working. It's very simple. I say it's not brain surgery, it's brain adjustment. That's all it is.
Isn't that the truth? Ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined us, or if you missed it last time, go to Steve Rizzo, just the way it sounds, Rizzo, SteveRizzo.com. And there you can order the book, get your shift together. I couldn't say that 3 times in a row real fast. I like what you say too, Steve. A lot of people keep waiting for happiness. If I can just get this, or if I could do this, or if I can reach this spot. That's the wrong way to be, right?
Yeah, because when you do that, you're putting your happiness on hold. It's probably one of the biggest weights that we put on ourselves. It's the biggest hassle we make of our lives is when, and we do this unconsciously too, George. Most of us do this unconsciously. That's when you say, I'll be happy when the weekend gets here. I'll be happy when the boss gets off my nerves. I'll be happy when I make more money. I'll be happy when I get more respect. I'll be happy when I achieve this goal. I'll be happy when I lose more weight. I'll be happy when I get married. I'll be happy when I get a divorce. Well, that I can understand. But, there's this and what you're doing is that you're creating a mindset that says happiness is going to take place at some point in the future, and that'll never happen because happiness will always be a couple of steps ahead of you. The time to be happy is in the moment. It's not the goal. It's not achieving the goal of getting more that makes you happy. It's the journey towards whatever it is you're trying to achieve in your life where happiness is found, because the journey towards the goal is where your life unfolds. That's where you are expressing who you are. And people don't get that. And the thing is, if you make that conscious choice to enjoy yourself, as soon as you wake up in the morning and enjoy the day, enjoy the process. Now, when I say the process, I don't just particularly mean a professional goal or something. I'm talking about the process of whatever it is you're doing in your life, whether you're walking the dog, changing the baby's diaper, cleaning the garage, or you're at work trying to achieve that next level in your career. Life is a process, and it's your right to enjoy it. Why the hell would you ever want to give that right away?
Uh-huh.
Because people think that things have to happen to them or for them in order for them to be happy. And it's ridiculous. Happiness is right there in front of you. All you have to do is focus on the stuff that you have. The more you focus on what you have, the more life in the universe will give you. The more you focus on your lack, the more of that you're going to get back.
That's true. That's true.
Haven't you ever noticed that people who focus and always talking about how sick they are always sick?
Uh-huh.
People who are always talking about how annoying people are always annoying them.
That's true. Yeah.
I know it's true. It's just amazing. And people who are always talking about success are always successful.
Mm-hmm.
So, there has to be something to it.
Do you think, Steve, that one of our main malfunctions in society nowadays is that we are so self-centered that we're always looking inward at us, and not looking outward?
And when we do look at us, it's always what we don't have.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We're always focused on what we don't have. And one of the biggest culprits for that is when you watch TV and you watch people around you. I'm not knocking TV. I love watching good TV shows, but we have to be aware of what's happening to us, because we look at movie stars, we look at sports figures, we look at all the money that they make, and we look at what everybody else has,
uh-huh.
and you even look at what your neighbor has, and you say, well, how did he get that?
Right.
And why don't I have that? Why do I have to work two jobs? Why can't I achieve my level of happiness and success? Why can't I get it? And it's you create a mindset. You either become jealous, or you feel guilty that you didn't try hard enough, or you were a victim, or whatever it may be. And we do this to ourselves.
And there we are, stuck in the mud.
Yeah, and you do. Some people will stay stuck their entire lives, unfortunately. Some people will stay stuck. What happens to a lot of people, and I know you know this, and it's sometimes when people are stricken with a disease, with a cancer, or they get hit by a car,
mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden, life becomes really, really precious.
Oh, yes.
And you don't think of all those little stupid things that you were complaining about, and that includes even money.
Mm-hmm. That's what we said when we went through our crises. Nothing else matters.
Yep.
Nothing. And yeah, you're so right.
Yeah, you're talking about the situation with your wife, right?
Yes.
Yeah, when she was diagnosed with cancer. See, I know, because reality hits you then. Then all of a sudden you know what's important.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's important. It's not the fact that the dog chewed up the leg in the living room chair. It's not the fact that your neighbor has a better lawn than you. It's not the fact that your brother has a better car than you, or your brother's more successful than you. All of a sudden, when someone that you were so in love with is threatened with leaving this planet somehow,
mm-hmm.
your life gets totally put in. I call it God's wake-up call.
Yep.
That's when that's when everything just goes, oh my God, nothing else matters.
Yeah.
And I bet your wife, as a result of that, looks at a flower from a totally different perspective.
Oh, it's really beautiful.
Yep.
You know, it can be an old dandelion that's growing in the yard. You know what I mean?
Yep. I know. I know. You know, I got to tell you something. I never told this story, and you know, years ago, I was I had one of the worst weeks, and I can't get into the whole thing because it's too long, but it's one of the worst weeks of my entire life traveling. You know, sometimes I fly, like, I'm in 4 cities in 7 days. And one hotel didn't have my reservation. I was checking in at midnight. They had all the rooms were sold out. So finally the guy, I argued with him. He had to give me a suite. He gives me a suite. I walk in, and there's a couple in bed, and believe me, they weren't sleeping, okay? So I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? The guy comes out of the room. He starts chasing me. I'm trying to explain to him. We worked it out at the front desk. My luggage, when I got into my car at another hotel, my luggage was put into another car. I was going to a totally different airlines. Then I get to the airport, and my assistant calls me up, my director of business, and says that almost a month's work of negotiating with this big deal to get these bookings from a big corporate client, they decided to cancel, and they're not going to do it. And it really just ticked me off. And a very important FedEx for my new video demo was lost, and FedEx couldn't find it. This is all true stuff. I'm on the plane, and I am really ticked off. And I'm saying, why me? I can't believe this, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, I'm sitting there in first class, and we left Phoenix Airport, and it's getting really hot on the plane. I get up, and I go to the flight attendant who's sitting in her seat, and she's strapped, and she looks at me, and I said, listen, I said, it's really hot in here. I said, you have to please tell the captain to turn the air conditioning down. She says, you need to sit down, and you need to sit down now. And I went, oh my God. This was before 9/11, by the way. And as soon as I went to sit down, all the oxygen masks fell down, and the plane started dipping. It took giant dips, okay? I fall down on the floor. I get up. I go back on my seat. And the captain goes, this is the captain. You got to put your... And he wasn't calm. That's what was scaring the heck out of everyone. This is the captain. You got to put your oxygen mask on. We're losing compression, and we're losing it fast. And all of a sudden, it takes another dip. Now, the thing that made it worse was the flight attendant, because every time the plane dipped, you would hear her go, oh, my God. No, that's one thing you don't want to hear. This woman is trained to help you feel calm in situations like this. And every time it shook, oh, my God. And everyone's going, oh, my God, this is... Make a long story short, this is when they had phones on the plane. No, there weren't any really cell phones in.
Uh-huh.
And I went to swipe my credit card to tell my wife that I might be going down. And I wanted to tell her how much I loved it. That's the only thing I thought of. Not once did I ever think, as I thought the plane was going down. Not once did I think, gee, I hope they find my FedEx. Gee, I hope that client changes his mind.
Uh-huh.
Gee, man, not once did I think of all the bull crap that I went through that week. The only thing I thought of was my wife and my son. Did I tell them I love them enough? And even though I know I did, it's not enough when you think you're going to leave.
Right.
It's never enough. And I knew when because I'm so perceptive with people, when that plane finally made a safe landing, everyone was thinking the same thing, because as soon as the plane landed, the people that did have cell phones at that time were making phone calls on their cell phones, and everyone else was running to the pay phones. And that's all you heard was, oh, my God, I love you. Oh, my God. That's all you heard was people saying, I love you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it sometimes, as I say, it takes that type of thing to make you realize what you do have. It's like It's a Wonderful Life. That's my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that movie, and I urge anybody who's feeling down to watch that movie. Watch it over and over. And if you have the ability to do it, fast forward it. Watch certain scenes over again and rewind it, and then play it again. Rewind it and play it again. Because
burn that puppy. Burn that puppy
really
into your mind. Yeah. SteveRizzo.com, ladies and gentlemen. SteveRizzo.com. And the book. Get your shift together. Yeah.
You got to say it right. Get your shift together.
That's a little scary.
Yeah, I know it is.
Could you do me one more favor, Steve?
Yeah, sure.
You were sitting in the green room or something with Eddie Murphy when he was but
Yeah.
18 years old.
Yep.
Could you tell us about that?
Nah, I don't want it. I gotta go now, George. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I knew this is in the very beginning of my comedy days. I was at a club called Eastside Comedy, and Eddie Murphy and I were sharing the marquee at this club on Long Island. And as you said, he was just barely 18. As a matter of fact, I'm almost positive he was 17 then, and he wasn't supposed to be performing, but they let him do it. And I was 12 years his senior, and at the time I was teaching English at a high school and doing comedy part-time. And Eddie, from the moment you see him, the moment you saw him, you just knew there was something about him that was just so confident, and his attitude was just so powerful on and off the platform. And he was one of those people that you look at and you just say, he has it. He just has it. And some people say that Eddie Murphy, and this is people in the comedy industry, say that Eddie Murphy made it simply because he was incredibly talented. Some people say that Eddie Murphy made it because he was lucky and he was in the right place at the right time. And they say he was lucky. And I say Eddie Murphy made his own luck. We all do. And I believe it was Eddie's incredible thinking process, his ability to always think positive, that formulated an impeccable belief system, an impeccable attitude, and the way he felt about his life. I never seen him have a negative thought. I've never seen him say anything negative about anybody. He just focused on, his focus was incredible. He focused on his craft. One day we were sitting in the green room, and this was between shows on a Saturday night. It was me, Eddie, and two other comedians, maybe three other comedians. And we were all talking about what we wanted to do with our lives. And everybody was fumbling, well, maybe I guess maybe I would like to do this. And then it was my turn. I said, well, gee, hopefully someday, maybe when I leave teaching, I can do comedy full time. And I would like to, if I get a break, I'd like to maybe do a sitcom, and I'm fumbling. And then we go to Eddie, and this was a guy that was so much younger than everybody else. We go, Eddie, what about you? Without missing a beat, George, he looks at me. I mean, he looked at me, looked right in my face. Steve, I'm going to be to comedy what the Beatles are to music. And he said it with such confidence, with such a matter of fact. It wasn't conceit. He wasn't bragging. No one thought that, who the hell do you think you are saying that? We believed him. We just said, oh, okay. And that was his focus. That was his attitude. And it was unrelenting. He did that 24/7. He slept with that. He slept with those thoughts. It was almost like he had a crystal ball, and he knew somehow this was going to transpire in his life. And if you have that incredible, which is not easy to do, but we all have the ability to do that. If you could focus on nothing but getting what you want and being positive about it, and not let any kind of negative thought hinder that or stop you from getting it, that will instill in you an impeccable belief system, an incredible attitude. That and his intention to get what he wanted in life were the things that everyone else saying was lucky. He created his own luck, you see, because he drew that towards him. He drew this universal electricity, this power, like a magnet towards him. So when the opportunity was there, he was ready to seize that opportunity. And when he found out, this is what happened. We were performing at a comedy club in Queens, and the first group of Saturday Night Live retired, and they had the second group come in. So weeks before they went to rehearsal, they had the whole cast chosen. They realized that the black person that they chose for the part, and I'm not going to mention his name, couldn't read or write. dumbfounded. They couldn't believe this guy couldn't read or write. So they said, "Oh my God, we have to get another black comedian." So there was a call for a black comedian, and there were only a handful at the time. So we told Eddie, Saturday Night Live is going to be at the comic strip in Manhattan. Saturday night, you've got to go. You've got to go there on the weekend and audition. And we knew he would have a hard time because the owners of the club, Rich Tinkin and Bob Wax, they didn't like Eddie Murphy, and they refused to let him in their club. But he went anyway. This is an 18-year-old, maybe, like I said, closer to 17, who walks into the comic strip in Manhattan, probably the biggest club at the time, and they look at him and they say, "Eddie, you're not allowed in this club." And he goes, "I'm not here to perform. I'm here to audition, and you can't keep me from doing it, and I'm going to find out who the people are from Saturday Night Live, and I'm going to audition." So the people from Saturday Night Live heard Eddie arguing. They loved the way he looked. They came over, and they said, "Well, who's this guy?" And Eddie jumped right in front of the two managers of the club and said, "My name's Eddie Murphy. I want to audition for Saturday Night Live." And they looked at the owners. They said, "Well, we want him to." And what could they say? They said, "Go ahead." I swear to you, as the story goes, within a minute of him on stage, the powers that be from Saturday Night Live said, "That's him. We got our guy." And that was it.
Amazing.
Now that's positive thinking, man. Most people would have, a lot of people would have said, "Well, I don't know, the owners don't like me, I better not try it. You know, I'll only make way." No, not him. Not him. He just knew what he was going to do, and he just knew it.
When I read that, I thought of Emmitt Smith when he was inducted into the Football Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And he said when he was a kid, he was going to be the leading NFL rusher of all time.
Yep.
It wasn't, I'm going to try to be, I might be, if I get the right breaks, I will, I'm going to be.
Yep.
And that is so amazing. And he enjoyed his journey, and so did Eddie Murphy, right?
Well, yes, and they both enjoyed the journey, and here's the key. They just didn't say it, and they didn't wake up in the morning and say, "Okay, where is it?" They worked for it. You have to take action, and that's another thing I left out, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because after you have those positive thoughts and you create that attitude and that belief system, then you have to take action, and you have to keep moving forward no matter how many times it looks like it's further away. You've got to keep going, and that's what Emmitt Smith did. That's what Eddie Murphy did, and Emmitt Smith did something even more empowering than Murphy, because when he was in high school, they told him he was too small to play football. And he overrode that, too. I was told I wasn't smart enough to go to college, and I believed it. That was the difference. I mean, I did many years later, but in 8th grade, for so many years after that, that molded the direction. Some people could say, "No, screw you," and use that as motivation. Some people believe it. And for a while in my life, I did believe it. And the longer it stays in you, the more difficult it is to get rid of it. That doesn't mean you can't. You can.
Steve, did you ever? This just came to the top of my head. Did you ever run into that guidance counselor?
Well, yeah. But I went back to that school to teach the same school.
Amazing.
And that was his last year, George. That was his last year at at the school, and I walked into his office, and he got really, by the way, he got pissed off at me. I was trying to be real cordial too, and I just said, "But I guess you don't remember me." And he goes, "No, I don't." And as a matter of fact, my brother was the assistant principal then. So he goes, "I know your brother," but I said, "Well, I was sitting right there in that chair with my mom and dad, and you told me I didn't have what it takes to go to college." And he started fumbling, and I just went on and on. I said, "Do you have any idea what that did to me?" I said, and I think what really concerns me is how many people did you tell that to that will probably believe that for the rest of their entire lives without even giving them a chance. And I don't have to take this. I've been in this business for 20, 30 some odd years, and I've helped many people. And I said, "Okay, that's the end. It was nice talking to you." And I walked out. After I shot him. No, I'm just kidding. So,
Amazing.
There's motivation for you. Now, I wasn't angry at him. I was just trying to explain to him. I wasn't coming from anger at all. I just wanted him to know.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, no one's ever asked me that question before. Good question.
SteveRizzo.com, ladies and gentlemen. SteveRizzo.com. And the book is Get Your Shift Together. It's an amazing book. Trust me. Do yourself a favor. Go to his website. Click on that dooflicky, and it'll take you to the whatchamacallit where you can buy the thingamajig.
There you go.
In all seriousness, do yourself a favor and get this. The thing that I enjoyed the most, Steve, was not only the humor and the seriousness, but the simple message. I mean, it's simple.
Yeah, it is. That's what's. After I finished the book, and I think my biggest challenge in the book, what really concerned me, when you start writing, you go into a zone, you don't realize what you're writing, and then when I read what I wrote, I got nervous because I was very vulnerable. Like I am talking to you, I'm talking about my own fears. I'm talking about my inadequacies, and here I am, a pretty well-known motivational speaker, and people look at me as if I always had my shift together, and I didn't, and I admit that in the book. I still have a problem with it today at times, but because I did leave that stuff in there, that's what's making the book more popular now than I ever thought it would be, because I'm very honest with myself. And a lot of people appreciating the fact that I still struggle with it myself every now and then. You know what I mean? But I totally appreciate what you guys do, people like you, George, because you are in a position where you can let people like me who have these messages to get out to the masses. Otherwise, I'd never be able to do it, And because of the people that are listening to tell other people, and this book can get in the hands of someone that can make a difference in somebody's life. I'm already getting emails that, like this book ignited a major change in my life, and it made me realize that the disease I was diagnosed with doesn't have to take me over. I can enjoy myself during the rebuilding process, and you can hear the confidence in their words, It's like, and that puts your whole life in perspective right there. And you're a part of that. You're a part of the team that gets the message out. So I totally, and by the way, you're a great interviewer also.
Well, thank you.
Because you've got a great setup. You ask the right questions. You let me answer these questions, no matter how long it takes, and you have wonderful insights in it yourself. And you read the book, and I really appreciate that too.
Thank you, Steve. That's a tremendous compliment. I'm going to get on the horn with my brother and sister broadcasters and hit the old cyberspace email thingy and get it out to everybody I can to get a hold of Steve Rizzo. Put him on your show, even if you never had nobody before. Put Steve Rizzo on your show, and we'll get that puppy out there, Steve.
I appreciate it, man. I really, really do. And, keep in touch. If there's anything I can do for you at all, anytime there's anything you need from me to help you with the show, whatever, don't hesitate to contact me. You have all my information.
Thank you so very, very much, Steve. And thank you for coming and taking time out of your busy schedule. And don't forget to tell your brother.
Oh, I definitely will.
All right, buddy.
Definitely will tell him. Don't you worry about it.
Thank you so very, very much.
All right, man. You take care, bud.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oh, my. Wonderful. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. I'll be right back after this. Hey, here's one of them crazy songs that Charlie dug out. He's been on a roll lately, especially this week. And we might have played it before, but he's got it up there on the board, so he gonna hit the button or the slide or whatever he does over there. So Charlie, it's your puppy.
Now introducing the greatest rock and roll band in all Potato Land. I give to you Adam and the Couch Potatoes. When I was old enough to stand, I started this here rock and roll band, and we are traveling around the globe. Every night we play shows when we're on the road, night after night. pay when you are famous. Living life fast-paced, can you even blame us? I am old and I star, I am old and I star, I am old and I star, I am old and I star. La la la, ooh 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 la la. I am old enough for rock and roll. Cheer me on when I'm on stage, scream and shout 'cause we're all the rage. If you work really hard and play hard too, maybe you'll join us, the lucky few. Here we go. I am old enough, 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 to be a star.
Adam and the Couch Potatoes from Potato Land. Oh, that was a good one, Charlie. Old enough for rock and roll. Adam and the Couch Potatoes from Potato Land. And you thought we are crazy because we come to you live Monday through Friday from the Funny Farm in a place called Our World. You know, they're not bolted up too tight neither. But we have something in common. Oh my goodness gracious! I want to say thank you so very, very much to Mr. Steve Rizzo, who is with us tonight. SteveRizzo.com. That's RIZZO, SteveRizzo.com. Go to that website, and you can read all about it. You can go to his homepage, and on every page, you can have a way to get the book. Get Your Shift Together. Listen, it's an easy read, but it is funny. It is serious. It'll make you cry. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you do both of those things at the same time, and it'll light a spark. It'll light a spark. I'll guarantee you. You get that book and you sit down and read it. It'll light a spark way down deep in your soul, and the lights will come on, and you'll think, "Oh my God, where have I been all my life?" So get that book. Get Your Shift Together. Go to SteveRizzo.com. And Steve, thank you so very, very much for taking time out of your busy schedule and being with us. Tomorrow night's Friday, and you know how Fridays are around here. I mean, we never know what's going to happen on Friday. And of all things, I got to thinking this afternoon while doing some work. I got to thinking, you know, tomorrow's Friday. Friday is always freaky and strange around here because, you know, we've had moon rocks fall on us, and we've had this and that, and things that we never contemplated. But tomorrow night, of all things, we're going to have Mr. Bob Schroeder with us. You remember Mr. Bob? He was with us a week ago Wednesday, and he was telling us all about the UFOs and so on and so forth. We were just getting into it. I mean, we were about 28 minutes and so many seconds into the show, and we were getting into these UFOs, and I mean, it was picking up momentum, and I was getting up on the edge of my seat, and all of a sudden, we had a major power outage around here, and and it didn't come back on for a couple hours. 2.5 hours, whatever it was. But I was able to talk to Mr. Bob on the cell phone, and we were wondering if it wasn't perhaps done by the aliens or they crashed their UFO into one of the transformers that caused a major power outage. There was a couple thousand people without power. So tomorrow night, Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, right here on the Spreaker Network, on the George Espinlove Show, Mr. Bob Schroeder will be back, and we're going to attempt to talk about the UFOs again. Now, look, if the lights go out this time, if we lose power this time, I'm out of here. You know, I'm just saying, I'm out of here. That's all there is to it. Hey, listen, I can't believe there's anybody out there still sitting down. I mean, you should be tapping your feet, snapping your fingers, bobbing your head, and up shaking your booty, because that's what we're doing right here. I pretend they're all you. Oh, my. I'm telling you what now. Look, when when that song came on and it hit the speakers outside, I mean, people were were charging the dance floor. In fact, some of them didn't even make it. They just kicked chairs back and they just they just got it done right where they were. And man, that'll cause you to stand up and get yourself moving. And when you get yourself moving, you'll get motivated. Hey, don't forget. Get the proper thinking, the proper mindset. Get Steve Rizzo's book. Get your shift together. SteveRizzo.com, and you will be glad that you did.
Side of the road, and you blew right by me. I come around to your door, 'cause I need you to hide me. 62 days under the ground, and we just waved goodbye to the penitentiary walls. The penitentiary walls. Like a freight train ripping all around in my brain. I can't let them see my face, boys. We gotta hide the chains. I can't turn around here. I ain't never going back. That old guy must have a lump on his head. I guess I'm glad he ain't dead. Oh yeah. Yeah, hell yeah. 62 days under the ground, and we just waved goodbye to the penitentiary walls. The penitentiary walls. It's like a freight train ripping all around in my brain. I can't handle a lock on my door. Won't see me back in there no more. No way, no how. 62 days under the ground, and we just waved goodbye to the penitentiary walls. Penitentiary walls. I can't turn around here. I ain't never going back. I can't handle a lock on my door. Won't see me back in there no more. 62 days under the ground, and we just waved goodbye to the penitentiary walls. The penitentiary walls. The penitentiary walls. The penitentiary walls. Just wave goodbye to the penitentiary walls. The penitentiary walls. The penitentiary walls. The penitentiary walls. Penitentiary walls.
Fabulous hats. Breakout. Penitentiary walls. Fabulous hats. Breakout. They was thinking about them penitentiary walls. Oh my goodness gracious.
Kick off the evening with a show that begins at 8, 7 Central Time, immediately followed by another show of a similar theme at 8:30, 7:30 Central Time. Then at 9, 8 Central Time is another show, followed by another one at 10, 9 Central Time. Then after your late local news, it's another one at 11:35, 10:35 Central Time, except if it's preceded by a golf or tennis update, in which time it will start at either 11:50, 10:50 Central Time, or 12:05, 11:05 Central Time, after which stay tuned for another show at either 12:37, 11:37 Central Time, 12:52, 11:52 Central Time, or 1:07, 12:07 Central Time, depending on whatever golf or tennis update was on 11:35, 10:35 Central Time. After that, stay tuned, whatever time it will air, for paid commercials, repeats of the 11 o'clock news, burned off syndication flops, bad movies, or a test pattern with an Indian head in the center of the screen. It's all right here at 8, 7 Central Time, unless something like the President of the United States of America has a televised press conference at 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern Time. In that case, just add anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours to each of the times I have given you, depending on the time zone that you are in. And in this extreme case that this may occur, California will slip into the sea. Your trash pickup will be a day late. Polar bears and penguins will swap poles. The Great Pumpkin will rise. Paris Hilton will be sent back to prison. Cork will finally be out on DVD. Nothing will stay only in Las Vegas. Oprah Winfrey explodes. People die from watching Rachel Ray. An oil company will declare bankruptcy. Jesus brings the pork chops. Harry Houdini escapes death. Dogs and cats will be living together in harmony. People finally figure out the obscure pop culture references to Veronica Mars. David Hasselhoff does a paid cheeseburger commercial on the floor. Doctor Who plays first base on a baseball team. Joan Rivers' face finally falls off. People will finally care about David Beckham. Barry Bonds' muscles deflate. And Walmart raises all of their prices. And it's all tonight at whatever time it will air, only on SATV. Oh yeah, and David Tenney marries Jessica Alba. Yeah, right.
Could you repeat that back to me, please? A world goes round, Johnny Reed.
It's money, it's fame, some struggle with no name. It's power, you want it all. Life's good till it starts to fall. Not everybody feels the same. It's hard to make it when you're playing the game. What makes the world go round and round? Spinning away.
Put your feet back on the ground. It'll blow you away.
World Goes Round by Johnny Reed. Hey, listen. There I go again. It was right on the tip of my tongue, but it fell right off the top of my brain. Yeah, come on, Espinlob, straighten up here. I had something very important to tell you. Oh, well, it'll come back sometime soon. I'm looking over my notes. I'm looking at other things that's written here. I'm looking on the wall. I don't know where it came from, and I don't know where it went. If you see it, holler at me. Let me know. Let me know what it was. I do want to say one final time, thank you, Steve, Mr. Steve Rizzo, for being with us tonight. He is quite an individual, quite a human being, and we are so delighted that he took the time to come on the show with us tonight. SteveRizzo.com, SteveRizzo.com. He headlined in the comedy industry with people like Jerry Seinfeld. Drew Carey was his roommate. Eddie Murphy, Dennis Miller, and Rosie O'Donnell opened up for him. I mean, he was up and going. And one day he just said, "That's it." He told Drew Carey, "That's it. I'm going home." And the rest is history. He is a Hall of Fame motivational speaker, and he mixes his comedy with seriousness that brings a message that each and every one of us should hear. Go to his website, SteveRizzo.com, and get the book, Get Your Shift Together. Get Your Shift Together. Thank you so very, very much, Steve. Wow. Anyhow, listen to me. There's a whole lot of love coming to you from the Funny Farm. Yes, there is. We mean that from my mom, Charlie, Harvey, Miss Ernestine, Travis, Cindy, the chief psychiatrist, from all of us here at the Funny Farm. We thank you for tuning in and being with us tonight. You that have been hanging with us all this time, keep hanging in there. Tell a friend. Send a carrier pigeon. Let them know that tomorrow night, same time, same station, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, right here on the Spreaker Network, you can come on into the Funny Farm and join us for another George Espinlob show. Bob Schroeder, we're going to talk about UFOs again. Maybe this time the power will stay on. Hey, listen to me. If it's nighttime where you're at, you have a great night. If it's already daytime, then you have a good day. But regardless of where you're at and what it is, until tomorrow night, same time, same station, right here, this is George Espinlob saying good night, stay safe, and God bless you real good.